Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to this session of Front Porch Brunch. We are gathered together for the express purpose of looking at the news, giving our views, and trying to make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am sometimes known in social media as the beau in the chapeau. I am occasionally referred to as the common man with common sense. But in this moment, as always, above all else, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you would please do me a favor, as always, number one, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. Number two, hit the bell for notifications. Number three, leave a comment in chat. Hit the thumbs up button, daggone it. And finally, share the link around with your friends. We would greatly appreciate all that wonderful stuff that you guys do, that voodoo that you do oh so well. So glad to have you guys here this morning. It's been a while since we've been together. Had a lot of stuff going on, traveling and thus like that. However, I think we got a pretty good shoe lined up for you guys, so we'll see what happens here this fine morning. Whoa, 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 stop. You over there, you be quiet. Yep, wouldn't be my show if I didn't have a mechanical or technical malfunction. Oh, goodness me. Hang on. Okay, that's better. All right. There we go. Okay. Good to see you guys again. As always, let us see who is in the house this fine morn. Good morning, Miss Gypsy. Mwah, you gorgeous thing, you. Z Highness representing the 199. Mr. Lowry's in the house, and a fist bump for you. Let's see who else be here. Let's see. Go over to Rumble, check them out. TBA says, memes, nice. Indeed they are. WWG1 is in the house. As always, good to see you, brother. And we got all kinds of people popping in, popping out, hanging in, and hanging on. So there you go. Good to see all of you guys this morning. Oh, my gosh. It looks like StreamYard has updated some things since last I was here, but that's okay. That's good. Oh, gosh. It has been crazy for me these past few days and weeks. And loving every minute of it. Just hasn't allowed me a lot of time to stream, but that's okay. You know, we got things to talk about. Got a lot of things to talk about, actually. And, you know, so glad to have you guys here this morning. Really truly do mean it. So anyway, let's get right down to business. And if you'll give me just one moment, because I kind of rushed in here from doing something outside. Okay, we're all set now. Very good. Okay, so we will begin, as is our wont, with the Merry Memes section of the show. Now, in this day and time in which we find ourselves, people are trying to figure out how bad really are things. I mean, what's the truth of the matter? How bad have things gotten? Well, folks, I don't know, but I'll tell you what. If you see these two vehicles show up in your neighborhood, I think that's a pretty good sign you got problems. That's all I am saying here. If these two vehicles show up in your neck of the woods, friends, you got problems. That's all I'm saying. It's bad. It has really gotten bad. So there you go, and there you go. My goodness me. Yeah, Rutro is right. Like I said, when these two vehicles show up in your neighborhood, you know you got problems. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Oh, let's see. What else have we got going on right now? Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Let's see. Yes. You know, we always make an effort here on the Electronic Front Porch to be educational whenever possible. And such is the case today. And as you all know, if you've been here for a while, we have an ongoing effort on this channel to try and help out with bilingual education, particularly the Spanish language. If we find a word that we think that you ought to be made aware of, or more particularly how to use it when you're speaking Spanish, it might be a good time to try and introduce that. So in that vein, we have found a word of the day in Spanish that we think you guys ought to be made aware of. The Mexican word of the day is climate. And how do you use that when you're speaking Spanish? Gonna build a wall so you cannot climb it. There you go. So now you're aware of how to use the word climate when you're speaking Spanish. So I hope that this is useful to you. I hope that this is profitable to you. I hope that this helps bridge the divide between peoples all over the world, and that, you too can, freely converse with your friends in the Spanish language. And there you go. There you go. Oh, goodness me. And I can just hear it now. I'm just waiting for it. It's like, oh, you're so racist. Oh, you're so bad. What? Oh, God, Robert. Oh, jeez. Woo. Woo. Oh, boy, they're already on fire this morning in the chat. Oh, God, y'all are bad. Y'all are really bad. Woo. Mercy. Have mercy. That's all I'm saying. My goodness me. Oh, also, in the same vein of trying to be educational, people are always trying to figure out what certain words mean. TBA says, yeah, we're bringing the fire this morning. That's what happens when you abandon us for weeks. It hasn't been weeks. It feels like it because y'all are just waiting to hear the utterances of what I think about every social issue, but it's not literally been weeks, TBA. Come on now. Give me a break. Anyway, people are trying to figure out what certain words mean, particularly, political words that we've always understood what the definitions mean. Well, to that end, we have found a more updated definition for the word liberal. And you might ask yourself the question, well, what exactly is that? Well, basically, liberal stands for lacking in basic education, reason, and logic. So if someone should ask you, what is a liberal? You can look at them and say, well, it's very simple. It's a person lacking in basic education, reason, and logic. And you know what? The fact that AOC is the poster child to help explain this makes this just chef's kiss perfect. I tell you the truth. Yep. So now whenever your friend says, what am I, a liberal? Well, yeah, pretty much you are, because you lack basic education and reason and logic. So there you go. So hope that helps you guys out as you try to make your way through the conversations that make up your respective lives. Right. Oh, let's see. What else is going on out here? Yeah. I've always said that some memes speak for themselves. And you know what? This is one of those moments when I'm just going to let this one speak for itself. There's no setting this up other than just showing it to you. So here you go. People think that being a heterosexual is tough. Well, put yourself in the position of a lesbian if she finds herself in this particular situation. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. You begin to understand the problem here? Mm-hmm. Sorry, just pouring myself one before the start of the show, or before we really get into things. I'm such a diva as a host. I really am. It's ridiculous. Okay. Oh, yeah. Can't disagree with you there. Uh, hey, salty old farts in the house. Good morning over there on Rumble. We're glad to see you. Yeah, we're doing memes. We're doing memes all over the place. No, I am not pouring myself a brandy. That alternate definition for side. Ew! God, that is bad, but funny. Funny as all get out, Gypsy. So thank you for that. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness me. WWG1 says, how long did you spend making yourself up in the bathroom this morning? Is that why you're always... Now, wait a minute, sir. Wait just a moment. I will have you know that I am not always late. Okay? That is so not true, and I feel seriously disrespected. If you really must know, I was trying to hurry out to my local Golden Arches to try to attain some sustenance so that I can do a quality show with high energy. Thank you very much. So, lest your poor host starve to death while he's doing his live stream, he'd kind of like to, have a little bit of energy while he's doing this, not keel over. Just saying. Jeez, man. You're away for a little while. Just the brutality of it all. The brutality of it all. A lot of people give California quite a bit of grief. And so much of that is so undeserved. It really is. However, but when California gets something right, you definitely ought to give them credit for it. So you know what? For all the grief that California takes, just keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep this in mind. California might have a lot of problems, but there is not one single plastic straw in sight. You can criticize California for a lot of things, but they have their plastic straw problem completely under control. Totally. So there you go, folks. There you go. All right. And as always, we want to thank everybody who's contributed to the Merry Meme section of the show. WWG1, Adam, everybody, thank you much. Greatly appreciated. And we will now roll into our first story of the morning. And this one is, for most people listening to this live stream, this is going to be that duh moment, okay? This is going to be that moment when you look around and you say to yourself, yeah, really? What's the story here? True, I understand where you're coming from in your sentiments. However, it needs to be talked about. One of the people who came into this administration, the second Trump administration, with a lot of fanfare, but it seems like at times they have kind of been shuffled off to the side, is Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, confirmed by the United States Senate, to much controversy in the opinion of a lot of folk. But Tulsi, for quite a while now, has been pretty quiet. Well, she remedied that problem yesterday by dropping what may be one of the biggest stories in D.C. Now, the motives behind the timing, we can get into that. But Tulsi Gabbard has done something that, for a lot of folk on the political right, be they libertarians, conservatives, civil libertarians, whatever, she has done something that everybody's been waiting to see happen for years. And that is, she brought the receipts. She brought the receipts on one of the oldest aggravations that conservatives have felt now for the longest time. And I say conservative broadly, okay? And it's this. Everybody's heard the term weaponization of government. And the origins of that term really go back to when Donald Trump first came into office in 2017. And through a lot of digging and investigation and conversations and document trading and leaking, we kind of had this general nebulous idea of what happened. And it goes like this. That Hillary Clinton hired Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS went out and got a hold of Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele wrote up a dossier about Donald Trump. That dossier made its way into the intelligence community in the United States. That dossier served as the basis of the intelligence community assessments that were given to Barack Obama and his ilk before they left office. That dossier and the intelligence community assessment led people to appoint Robert Mueller as special counsel to investigate collusion between the Trump campaign and the government of Russia. This went on for years. And for better or for worse, Donald Trump survived the whole thing. As well he should have, because we've, figured out slowly over time the Steele dossier was a load of crap. Mueller's investigation, therefore, was crap because it was based on faulty information, etc., and so on. And a lot of people on the political right have been screaming for the longest time, somebody's heads need to roll over this. Because it's quite obvious to everybody what was done here wasn't an accident, it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't anything else, it was quite deliberate. TBA says over on Rumble, I knew the Steele dossier was crap right from the beginning. I don't disagree with you. Don't disagree with you at all. But nobody's really put together what exactly happened. I would argue until yesterday, or maybe it's better to say no one could quite put the trail of documents together to prove the theory. The theory being it's all a load of crap. Everybody knew it was a load of crap. The Obama administration and the intelligence community went ahead with it anyway. And they tried to undermine, if not deliberately take out, the next administration that was duly elected by the American people. Well, yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard unloaded one of the biggest bombs to hit Washington in a while by way of information. And with that, I take you to the pages of justthenews.com. Now, this is a fairly lengthy article. I'm going to go over parts of it because I want you guys to see it, and then we're going to talk about it for a little bit. WWG1 says, this is treason, plain and simple. WWG1, you are not the only person who feels that way, and now it's come to the point where government officials appointed by the people are agreeing with you, and maybe, just maybe, something's going to happen. I don't know yet. We'll see. From justthenews.com. Headline, DNI Gabbard sends declassified evidence to DOJ for possible prosecution of, quote, treasonous conspiracy. Article written by Jerry Dunleavy. We have the following. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has sent declassified evidence to the Justice Department of what she dubbed a, quote, treasonous conspiracy related to top U.S. intelligence officials allegedly politicizing intelligence related to Russia and the 2016 election. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence on Friday issued a press release stating that Gabbard had, quote, revealed overwhelming evidence that demonstrates how, after President Trump won the 2016 election against Hillary Clinton, President Obama and members of his national security team manufactured and politicized intelligence to lay the groundwork for what was essentially a years-long coup against Donald Trump. Now, here's the quote that I think is probably the most powerful in this whole thing. And I want to read it to you. It's right here. So keep an eye on this. It's this one right here. Quote, "The information we are releasing today clearly shows that there was a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 committed by officials at the highest level of our government. Their goal was to subvert the will of the American people and enact what essentially is a years-long coup with the object of trying to usurp the president from fulfilling the mandate bestowed upon him by the American people," Gabbard said on Friday. Going a little further, "No matter how powerful, every person involved in this conspiracy must be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law to ensure nothing like this ever happens again." Now, I want to stop here for 1 second. There are a lot of people, and some of them are on the political right, who are asking the question, Front Porch, what's the point of doing all this? What is the point of doing all this? This was years ago. No, there's one very good reason why you go forward with this investigation and you take it all the way to the limit. You do not want this to ever happen again. Oh, you're just saying that because you're a Trump guy. No. If you have individuals who are deliberately weaponizing the intelligence community to use it against a political opponent inside the United States, just because you don't like their politics, you don't agree with them, etc., that's wrong. If you're doing it for the express purpose of hamstringing the incoming administration that you don't like, that is wrong. If you're doing it to try to take down a duly elected president, that is wrong. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever. If there's no justification for this, it should not be done. The reason you go forward with this, even though it happened some years ago, is to hopefully, this never, ever happens again. All right, back to the article. As such, I am providing all documents to the Department of Justice to deliver the accountability that President Trump, his family, and the American people deserve. Amen. Hallelujah. Going a little further into the article, these declassified documents by Gabbard come on the heels of the CIA's recent 8-page lesson learned review, released earlier in July, which concluded that the decision by agency heads to include the Steele dossier in the Intelligence Community Assessment, ICA for short, ran counter to fundamental tradecraft principles and ultimately undermined the credibility of a key judgment. Continuing on a little bit further, the Gabbard-led intelligence office said of the December 16 Intelligence Community Assessment, quote, "After months of investigations into the matter, the facts reveal this new assessment was based on information that was known to be by those involved to be manufactured, i.e., the Steele dossier, or deemed as not credible." Now, again, folks may say, well, what's the point of all this? This is the first time somebody has brought forward actual documents to demonstrate once and for all, absolutely, this intelligence community assessment from back in December of 2016, before Trump came in, was absolutely a load of crap. But it was that intelligence assessment that was used to launch the Mueller investigation and everything else that went with it. And they knew it. Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Obama, everybody knew it. Everybody knew this was a load of garbage. And the only reason this is being done, or was done, is because they just didn't like Trump. They didn't want him doing whatever it is they thought was not in their own interest. I don't disagree with you. This is my worry. Let's find out. Let's just find out what she's made out of. The Epstein thing is one thing. This is laying it up. This is like serving it up on a silver platter to the Justice Department. But we'll get to Pam Bondi here shortly. Okay, now back to the article, because there's a very important, and the reason everybody knew that what was put out in December 16 was a load of garbage. Here's the big bombshell from yesterday. A newly declassified assessment by the U.S. Intelligence Committee from September, 3 full months before that December meeting, in September 2016, showed that the intelligence community did not seem overwhelmingly concerned by Russian meddling in the 2016 election and made no mention of the Kremlin backing Trump, a tone which would shift dramatically after the November election. So yeah, here's the big bombshell. A full 2 months before the election, the Intelligence Committee was like, we're not worried about the Russians. We don't think the Russians are going to interfere in this election. Who cares? Then Donald Trump wins. Then, for some strange reason, about a month later, everybody in the Intelligence Committee gets concerned about, oh my God, Russian interference. They probably were messing around in our elections. Anyway, back to the article. Going a little bit further down into this thing. Here we go. The September 2016 assessment made no mention of Russia's alleged animosity toward Hillary Clinton, nor of its preference for Trump, included no discussion of the Kremlin allegedly seeking to sink Clinton's candidacy and to elevate Trump's chances, and generally attributed Russian efforts to a generalized desire to undermine the legitimacy of the U.S. election or the legitimacy of the next presidential administration, rather than a desire to pick a winner or loser in the race. Going a little bit further into this article, and I'm going to post this link to the article in chat, because, this thing is so well written. I highly recommend it to everybody. Going a little bit further, the December 2016 assessment from the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA, made public in January 17, concluded with, quote, high confidence that Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 and that Russia worked to undermine public faith in the U.S. democratic process, denigrate former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and harm her electability and potential presidency, and developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump. Okay, now again, I know I'm being a little redundant, so forgive me here, but the point absolutely has to be made. In September 2016, the intelligence community writes up a paper and says, we're not worried about the Russians. The Russians have no great desire to see a winner or a loser. They're just trying to undermine, general elections in the U.S. Fast forward 3 months later, and all of a sudden, oh my God, Putin's out there trying to influence what we did. He hated Hillary Clinton, yada, yada, yada. Oh, excuse me. What happened between these two intelligence assessments? An election. That's what happened. An election that didn't go the way that official Washington wanted it to go. True. But would they have gone as far? Would they have gone as far as to do everything that Clapper, Brennan, Comey, etc. accused them of? Apparently not. WWG1 over on Rumble says, be prepared for a rug pull so you aren't disappointed if it seemingly goes nowhere for a while. Yeah. T. Gagliotti's in the house. What up, what up, what up? Good to see you, sir. All right, back to this article. And like I say, this thing's pretty good. We're getting there, folks. So I appreciate your patience as we read along through this thing. But like I said, I will put this link in chat for you guys, because like I said, this is something you really ought to read. The publicly available version of the 2016 Intelligence Community Assessment stated that, quote, further intelligence has come to light since Election Day that, when combined with Russian behavior in early November 16, increase our confidence in our assessments that Russian motivations and goals. Next paragraph down, a intelligence official told Just the News those two passages were referring main pieces of information. A secret source closely held by Brennan and the anti-Trump dossier. That's what they based. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what they based their assessment in December on. Oh, okay. No worries, dear. No worries. All good. I'm with you. I'm with you. They based that December assessment in 2016 on the Steele dossier. It's a load of crap. Complete and absolute load of crap. And now you've got Tulsi Gabbard coming forward, making the case, and not just making the case, she's proving it with the release of documents. And there's some quotes in here from other folk, Democrats mainly, but on and on it goes. So yeah, now let me grab the link to this thing because I want to drop this in chat on both sides for you guys, because this, like I say, this is something you're going to want to read, take some time to go through. And it's got links. It's got all the links that you need. So take your time, peruse through it. Now, what are we to make of all this? Okay. What are we to make of all this? Let me show you something. Now, granted, I've read a lot of material here, but if you're wondering what are the real connections, let me show you something real quick. Oops, hang on. There we go. This might explain everything. Notice up here at the top, the real intelligence assessment. Russia and criminal actors did not impact recent U.S. elections, resulting in conducting cyber attacks or anything else. Donald Trump wins the 2016 election. Then all of a sudden, here we go. Early December, we start leaking. Hey, Putin was involved. Putin was everything else. And then the assessment that comes out, suppressed prior intelligence showing Russia lacked intent. Yeah, everybody in the intelligence community in 2 months before the election said, nope, the Russians aren't going to try and do anything other than just they might have a preference on who wins, but no big deal. They suppress that assessment from back in September and then start coming out with an assessment that's based on a whole bunch of crap. Absolute grade A, 100% all American made crap. And now we've got the receipts. You know, every time that Donald Trump has been president, now the second term, there's always a worry. Okay, you've appointed this person. Yeah, everybody's seal clapping about it. But what's really going to happen? Well, at least as far as telling everybody what happened and showing them with evidence what happened, this doesn't necessarily disappoint. I give Tulsi Gabbard and her folks over at DNI a lot of credit. A lot of credit. They have brought the receipts. Now, to Gypsy's point, WWG1 and others, what happens from here is up to Pam Bondi's Justice Department. So we'll see where this goes. But for right now, I'm at least able to celebrate a small victory in that something that everybody's not, or let's put it this way, something that everybody has suspected for years is now proven to be true. Now, to T. Gagliotti's point, I feel like half the country knew this years ago and the other half doesn't give a shite. Well, that's true. That is true. Oh, good morning, Professor. Glad to have you in the house, sir. No, long time no chat. I got to catch up with you sometime. But good to see you. Say hello to Christian Watson, ladies and gentlemen, and please give his channel a follow if you're not doing it. You can find him on YouTube. One of the best political minds out there coming or going these days. Salty Old Fart says, all talk, no accountability, people lose interest. True. So now we're going to find out what Pam Bondi's made out of. Now, I'm not holding my breath here, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. So we will see what happens. We will see what happens. But for right now, we've got some measure of what really happened here. Now, I've got a clip here from Tulsi Gabbard herself, and I think it's fair. You guys ought to hear it. So I want to play this for you guys just to give you an idea of where she's coming from in all this. So give me just a second to set this up for you guys. As always, give me a sound check. Let me know if we're working well, and here we go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue, and I just want to start by saying that this is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I've released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you reference this President's Daily Brief document.
Okay, that's from Tulsi Gabbard. And I don't know about you guys. Oh, please do not tell me that oh, there we are. Good, we're back. Yeah. So, thank you. Glad to know the sound was working all right. Glad to know. Yeah, he says, I wonder if she speaks French. T. Gagliotti, what, pray, sir, are you referring to? TBA says, I just got an image of a French maid's outfit. Oh, will you guys stop it over there? Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, computer was giving me a little bit of a fit, but okay. Anyway. So yeah, that's the importance with which she brings to this. And I'm personally glad to see it. And if you wonder, well, what was the big deal? I mean, how big a deal was this Steele dossier? Yeah, folks, just remember how many people bought off on what was in that dossier. I give you an exchange between Shannon Bream of Fox News and Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who I hope in the near future is going to be retired. But if you wonder how much weight was given that dossier, listen to this.
Then FBI Director James Comey said that they have not dialed back their interference by his judgment in U.S. Politics. So it's interesting that we have these diplomatic meetings. Everybody's nice. You shake hands, you smile, you walk around. At the same time, the man who was FBI director until last night has said they are still actively trying to interfere in our democracy.
Well, I think there's no question about that. We saw the act of interference in the French elections here just a few days ago. But through a combination of espionage, cyber espionage, propaganda efforts, use of social media, co-opting even some of the mainstream media to take phony news stories and to make them enter the mainstream is part of the way they undermine public confidence in our democratic institutions.
Then FBI Director James Comey said that they...
Yeah. That's how much power at one point that Steele dossier had. You had Republicans on Capitol Hill who should have backed up Trump and said, this is a load of garbage. They're going, well, my God, the Russians are trying to interfere in our elections. Putin, maybe there was some kind of collusion between old Putin and old Trumpy Trump. And the people who launched this damn well knew, it was a lie. Brennan knew it. Clapper knew it. Obama knew it. Biden knew it, assuming he was lucid. Everybody knew it. And they let it go on anyway. Recall how many people believe this BS? It's been a wedge the Democrats have used to further divide us because they're losing relevance. That's a great point. That is an absolutely great point. Unbelievable. It makes you mad. It really does make you mad. Jack Posobiec, director of human events and a former intelligence officer himself, the other day said the following: been taking calls from current and former intel officers all night long. They are furious. The Gabbard file shows that the biggest intelligence scandal in modern history, lives were destroyed because of this lie. Wars were started. Doors ought to be kicked in, one of them told me. Well, I don't necessarily say it wrong. Everybody, I think, in this audience, or most people in this audience, would agree, there's a bunch of people in Washington, D.C. I'll be perp walked out of their house. I can think of three right off the top of my head: Comey, Clapper, and Brennan. All three of them. Perp walk them out in handcuffs. They knew this was a load of garbage. They absolutely knew. And they went forward with it anyway. Because Donald Trump wasn't part of the club. And what will all this lead to, you ask? What will all this wind up doing? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if people start going to jail, our folks on the electronic front porch have found a dramatization of what it might look like. And it goes a little something like this. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but if Barack Obama were to go to jail, that's not too far-fetched to think that that's what it might look like. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see. Small Time says, all the president's men. Yeah. Sort of like how 51 intelligence experts agreed on Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the Steele dossier is one of the original Mac Daddies in the whole timeline that is Donald Trump's presidency. That dossier was used to formulate something that is called an intelligence community assessment. It gets put out in December, about a month before Trump comes into office. Official Washington starts laying the groundwork that Putin interfered in the election to get Trump in, that there was collusion between Trump and Putin. And for the next 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 months, Donald Trump is fighting off allegations that the Russians interfered in our elections to get him into the presidency, undercutting everything he wanted to do, undercutting efforts legislatively, undercutting trust with the American people. Yeah. And now we've got the absolute receipts to prove they knew it was a lie, because 3 months earlier in September, the intelligence community says, no, we're not worried about the Russians. They might have a preference on who wins, but they're not going to do anything. T. Gagliati says, ask Carter Page how likely all this. Brother, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. There's a difference between what is revealed and what happens because of it. What happens next is up to Pam Bondi. And frankly, I'm not necessarily holding my breath that people are going to go to jail. Should they? Hell yes. Absolutely they should. But that part of it I can't control. The only part I can control is the information that I read. So yeah, you might wind up being right. And I'm not necessarily going to argue the point with you. And not because I don't want to argue with you, but I'm inclined to agree with you. Until I start seeing somebody perp walked out of their house in handcuffs, I'm not going to get excited on that aspect of it yet. Now, the aspect of it where we, the universal we, the royal we, where we are proven right, I'm very excited about that. Because Tulsi Gabbard did something the other day that should have been done years ago, but we didn't have the right people in there to do it at the time. Now we do. So yeah, that part of it I'm excited about. That part of it I'm really happy about. Now what happens from here? We'll see. T. Gagliati follows up and says, John Brennan should have been in Gitmo a decade ago, romantically embraced by a 300-pound Muslim. Ew! Yucky! Dang! Y'all are feeling saucy over there on Rumble this morning. Wow! But anyway, thought I'd share that one, this story with you. I think let's see where this goes. Let's see where it goes. All right. We're going to move on to our next topic, and it's a topic that's been talked about ad nauseum, but I haven't had a chance to chime in on this with you guys, and I'm looking forward to it, and that is Epstein. Yeah, this is my worry. And actually, Bondi is going to figure into this next story, talking about Epstein. But anyway, before I do, let me do a real quick commercial. For folks who are maybe stopping by for the very first time, and we're glad to have anybody and everybody here. If you've stopped by and you don't know what this is, let me introduce myself. My name is Brian Tripp, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative. You have come across Front Porch Brunch. This is a live stream that we do on the weekends to kind of talk about the news. And we get together, we hang out, we kind of give our take on things, and believe me, I love the Fedora Nation community. And I'm not just saying this either. I truly do mean it. I've got what I think is the smartest audience on the internet. We may not be the biggest yet, but we're definitely some of the sharpest. So if good conversation is something you enjoy, if you enjoy giving your opinion and being a part of something kind of cool, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Rumble? It'd be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the thumbs up this morning and leave a comment in chat. It would be greatly appreciated because it really helps push this little live stream out there for people to watch. Hit the bell for notifications, share the link around with your friends. All of that is greatly appreciated, and you will be eternally in my heart for it. All right. Let us move to a different compartment of the train this morning, as it were. And let's get into the subject of Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, and all that goes with it. Okay. I have not really had much of a chance to talk with you guys about all this since it sort of broke loose. As I've been traveling and getting ready for company coming into town and etc. I made a few comments on Twitter, but this is really my first chance to kind of talk about it on a live stream. I have never, I'm 53 years old. I'll be 54 in November. And I've watched a lot of political happenings in my brief life on this, little blue speck in the universe that we call Earth. I've watched a lot of political stuff in the United States. And I've seen good politicians. I've seen bad politicians. I've seen good political happenings. I've seen bad political happenings. Man, not that I'm the be all and end all in this stuff. There are observers out there way smarter, way better informed, way better connected than I am. But I can say with pride, that I've watched a lot of stuff go down. Okay. But I have never, ever in my life seen anything like the way Donald Trump is handling this whole Jeffrey Epstein debacle. Okay. Now I want to go back a little bit, and I'm just going to give you my take on the whole thing. Back during the campaign, Trump said he would consider or look into, depending on which clip you see, releasing whatever information there was about Jeffrey Epstein. And this got a lot of people excited. So Pam Bondi makes that very foolish statement on Fox News to Jesse Waters. I've got the Epstein file I've got the client list on my desk. I'm reviewing it now. She then goes through that farcical press nonsense of giving out those binders, those phase 1 binders, with the implication being if there's a phase 1 binder, there's going to be a phase 2. And here you've got all these social media influencers holding things up, having pictures taken with them, etc. Right? And then all of a sudden the wheels start coming off this thing. Memo comes out from the Justice Department, says, we're not going to prosecute anybody further related to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein committed suicide, and there's no client list. And everybody, and I mean everybody, you all, me, social media influencers, all over the place are just up in arms. Trump keeps trying. The best analogy that I've got to the way that Donald Trump has been handling this thing, and this is not perfect, but it's the best thing I can come up with. It's like that old Uncle Remus story about Brer Rabbit getting stuck on Tar Baby. The more he keeps trying to get loose from Tar Baby, the more he keeps getting stuck to it. Now, the great irony of it is that from Donald Trump's perspective, he's got nothing to do with Epstein, aside from a brief association that they had back in the late 90s, early 2000s, which, according to reports, Donald Trump got wind of the fact that Epstein was making untoward advances toward underage girls at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump kicked his rear end out of Mar-a-Lago, never to come back again. That was it. Nothing else. And when I say I've never seen anything like the handling of all this when it broke, and to me, it really broke loose after that Justice Department memo. I've never seen a group of people inside a White House handle this thing so badly. I mean, for example, you got Donald Trump on one day, he comes out and says to John Solomon of JustTheNews.com in a joint interview with fellow contributor Amanda Head, comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm considering appointing a special prosecutor. Absolutely, let's appoint a special prosecutor. Let's get this thing over with." Then about a day or so later, you've got Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She comes out and says, "No, the president's not going to appoint a special prosecutor." And we're all sitting there going, "Huh? What? Wait a minute." You had Lara Trump, you had John everybody saying, "Yeah, we're going to get a special prosecutor. We're going to get a special prosecutor." And now all of a sudden we're not. And when I say Trump's like Brer Rabbit, he's getting stuck on Tar Baby, the more he tries to get loose, the perception is starting to set up in some people's minds, hey, Donald Trump is on this Epstein list. He's hiding something. The simplest solution would be release all the documents, with the exception, obviously, no one wants to see child porn. Okay. But when I say release everything, anything, excluding that, something that would harm the victims further, no releasing of any child, inappropriate stuff, but release whatever is appropriate. Let's have a look at it. Trump doesn't want to do that. No one can figure out the why. Oh, hang on. I'll get to this. I saw that hand out there in the audience. Bless your heart. But it's just, there's flip-flopping. There's inconsistency of message. I've never seen anybody just so badly handle this. And like I said, the worst irony of it is, Trump had nothing to do with Epstein. Beyond an association of about 20 plus years ago, which didn't last very long, if the reports are to be believed. Donald Trump terminated whatever association he had with Epstein when he started getting wind of what he was doing at Mar-a-Lago. And then to kick all that off, you got Trump out there pulling this crap. This is from the Post-Millennial, and this is the one that I was sitting there scratching my head going, dude, you have lost your ever-loving mind. Trump slams Democrats and, quote, past supporters for peddling the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Now, if you've not seen this, here's the post on social media. This is from Truth Social. Radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like the fake and fully discredited dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents laptop from hell, it came from Hunter Biden's base, a totally fake and made up story used to hide, blah, 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 blah. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policing. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson, probably never will, after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. When I saw that, I went, dude, you have lost your ever-loving mind. What in the actual hell is the matter with you? I mean, look, you want to go after the Democrats? Knock yourself out. You want to go after Barack Obama or Joe Biden? Knock yourself out. Bill Clinton? Knock yourself out. Do not go after the people who are supporting you. And there's a reason why I tell you that. Well, I agree with you. He's been off for the past few weeks. I'll agree with that. I don't know if it's a health thing or not. I think there's something else going on. We don't know what it is yet. But yeah, I agree with you completely. He's definitely been off. And honestly, it would do him some good to take about a week or two off, go down to Mar-a-Lago and just play golf. The White House can keep him abreast of what's going on. Ain't no big deal there. Dude, you need to get away and get your head on straight. And maybe he's going to do that. I don't know. Yeah, Robert, I don't disagree with that at all. It's almost like he's being led around by the nose. I think it was Owen Schroyer the other day on his show War Room, who said, "Hey Donald, if you're in there and you're under duress, blink twice, and that way we'll know what's going on." It makes you wonder. It really does. Okay. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And why are you attacking your own people? I mean, matter of fact, I've got a clip right here. Let me see if I can play this for you guys. Give me a second here. This was posted into PBS's website. And I mean, watch this. I mean, this is one of the most visceral reactions I've ever seen Trump give to something. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Mr. President, your daughter-in-law said that there should be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well.
How many more plans? The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
Okay, I want to stop here for a minute. And I'm not saying, I mean, look, you guys know me. I've always tried to be honest with you. If I think somebody gets something right, I'll say it. If I think they screw it up, I'll say it. And the same thing applies to Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. You guys know that. I want to see him succeed because I think a lot of the policies he pursues are in the best interest of the country. Not everything. Sometimes he comes up with a harebrained idea that I'm like, oh, no, dude, we're not doing this. This is no good. No bueno on so many levels. But by and large, I want to see Trump succeed. That said, one of the biggest screw-ups that Trump has committed in this is, and it's something that applies to everybody, myself included. You're trying to explain something that makes you so angry you cannot see straight. And in that moment, and I'll just take myself as an example, you get so mad, you don't stop long enough to be articulate. Aside from all the flip-flopping about what you want to do about this, okay, or how you want to handle this whole Epstein thing, he's not taking the time to slow down and explain what he's thinking. I mean, T. Gagliotti over on Rumble says he is just flailing. There is no strategy. Okay, I'll give you that one. It's fair. That's fair. TK also says it's all trust me, bro. Nah, yeah, there's a lot of that too. I don't disagree with you. Okay. But he's not stopping long enough to explain what he's thinking. Now, in that clip, you start to get an idea of where he's going with this. Or maybe, and I could be totally wrong. But about a week ago, Cheryl Atkinson, independent journalist, great reporter, came up with something that kind of predated what Trump was trying to say. And it goes like this. This is her tweet. I may have just figured it out. It makes more sense than anything else. Now, again, independent journalist has nothing to do with Trump other than she's maybe interviewed him a time or two. Okay. It's not like she's working in the White House. It's not like she's, whatever. She's just out there kind of doing her thing. What if corrupt anti-Trump intel officials left behind a lot of fabricated Epstein docs, included a fake, quote, list to ensure the full tranche would never be released and prosecutions would be hampered? They have a well-documented history of fabricating information to try and frame Trump and his associates. We all know that guilty parties inside the government weren't protecting the Epstein docs under a cloche, just waiting for Trump to get into office and make them public. That's what could cause them all to now say there's no client list. They have concluded there's no, quote, real client list. Your thoughts on this? Now, I'm not saying she's right, but she does bring up a valid point. Okay. I mean, Trump saying, well, these files were created by Brennan, by Clapper, no. Donald, slow down. And what are you saying here? Okay. And again, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. But I can kind of see where Trump might be going with this. Look, you had the Democrats cook up the Steele dossier and float that one out there. And how long did it take to get that out of everybody's bloodstream before they realized it was a whole bunch of fakery? How do we know that in all the years that those files have been in the possession of the Department of Justice up there in the Southern District of New York or down in Florida or wherever they are, how do we know they haven't been either purged, added to with false information, etc.? Yeah, you're right. She was privy to all of it as the Florida Attorney General. I'll grant you that. I will grant you that part. But what I'm just saying, as an alternative idea, what if somebody has come to the conclusion these files are compromised? Compromised to the point that if we just released everything and everything as is, there's a whole bunch of poison pills put into the thing. Now, personally, I could see that. On the other hand, I still say release all of it. Let's figure out what's fake and what's not. Let's get into it. Let's find out. Look, there's a lot of reasons why a significant portion of Donald Trump's base wants to see the information in the Epstein files released. There's a lot of reasons, okay? But there's one above all else. Above all else. Okay? And I want to play you a clip of an interview that Tucker Carlson did recently with a gentleman named Daryl Cooper. And this interview came out a couple of days ago out on the Tucker Carlson network out on Twitter. And it's probably one of the best things I've seen to explain why people want this, why they want this disclosed. And it's this. Check this out.
And so they tell themselves stories to make it not that way. And, you know, again, to me, a pervert like Jeffrey Epstein is like one small part of this story. To me, the whole constellation of forces around him that kind of coalesce to protect him and confuse the issue, and to this day is still, I mean, when I said Jeffrey Epstein has become a proxy for other things that are important, I mean, this is something, if there's one message I would like, if there's anybody at the White House or anywhere close to those people watching right now that they need to understand, is the reason this is important to the base is not because they think there's this Jewish pedophile who worked for the Israeli Mossad and they want him held. It has nothing to do with that. It's a proxy for, can we hold these people accountable? Like Donald Trump's presidency in general, you know, people might have favored the trade policy. Certainly they were, you know, the immigration thing was important, all that kind of stuff. But really what it was is, man, these people have gotten so out of control and so out of touch with the rest of us and so unconcerned with what's going on with the rest of us. We just got to bring in a wrecking ball from the outside who's going to go in there and shake things up and tear this thing down.
People are not listening.
And that's a great point. And I think Daryl Cooper is absolutely right with what he says. It's not about the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, you know, whatever his nationality was, that he was Jewish, or you know, it wasn't. There's the powerful, the rich, the well-connected, and then there's everybody else. And everybody else is looking over this other group of people who seem to be getting away with everything, including murder. And they're saying, is there no one in our government anymore that will hold these people to account? Is there no one that can bring these people to heel? There's supposed to be equal justice under the law. So do these people get away with this stuff? Do they get away with it while we live under a different set of laws than they do? It's supposed to be, you know, one set of laws for everybody, but more and more, it's like, well, there's one set of laws for, you know, the rich and the powerful, and one set of laws for everybody else, and the other set of laws treats everybody that's not rich and powerful more harshly than it does these people. That's what this is about. This is why the Epstein issue is it's such a lightning rod. It goes beyond what Jeffrey Epstein did or didn't do himself. There are other individuals who swirled around in Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. Now, maybe some of them are completely innocent in all this. They just had bad judgment by way of association. Okay? All right? They were badly associated. They made a bad choice of who they ran around with. But if some of these individuals engaged in the same things that got Jeffrey Epstein thrown in jail and ultimately cost him his life, then should they not be held to account? Or do they just get to walk around freely and we never know the truth? Again, it's not about necessarily Epstein or his actions. It's about laws for thee versus laws for me. And we, the American people, and I think I think a lot of us, if not everybody in this audience watching this live stream right now, falls into this. We want justice. We want fair treatment under the law. If you're going to punish me for something like what Jeffrey Epstein, if you're going to punish one person, then you ought to punish everybody in the same way. If they do the same thing, if they're found guilty of it before a jury of their peers. But we don't even know who these people are. Why? Because these names at this point, they're under seal. We don't know who they are. And by the way, what is this? What is this thing that Pam Bondi is trying to get released? Well, got a clip here between Alan Dershowitz and Chris Cuomo on his show on News Nation. And I thought by way of information, this would be pretty good to share. Folks, do me a favor, check this out.
Is the government hiding
a client list or anything that the Trump administration could release tonight?
No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them from accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex. And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did all the investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan. And they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it. And so I think it's important to place the blame where the blame deserves to be placed.
Okay, then I got a real simple solution to this. And apparently this is happening. The Justice Department needs to go up to the Southern District of New York in front of these two judges and say, okay, turn it loose. And that is exactly what is supposed to be happening right now. Got something here, and you guys have already heard about this, no doubt. Trump orders Bondi to release Epstein grand jury testimony. On Thursday, Trump took to Truth Social, calling on Attorney General Pam Bondi to release any relevant Epstein grand jury testimony pending court approval. And we'll see where this goes. She's supposed to have been in court, or I should say the Justice Department was supposed to have been in court Friday. And we'll find out. Now, let me do one thing real fast, because just to kind of back this up real quick. One moment. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Just doing something on the fly here real fast. I should have thought to put this one up there. And yep, here it is. Let me pop this up on screen. According to Attorney General Pam Bondi, the motion to lift the gag order has been filed. So that was about 16 hours ago. So you figure, yep, they filed it Friday evening in New York. So now it's up to the judges whether the orders on this get lifted or not. The professor says, what are your thoughts on Epstein's alleged foreign intel connections to Israel? Lots of influencers have been drawing conclusions. Okay, let's get into this. I'm glad you asked me about this, Christian. I hadn't necessarily planned on talking about this, but look, you've asked. I've got some thoughts on it. I think there's a whole lot more. Possibility that Epstein was connected with an intelligence service than there is that he wasn't. Now, here's what I'm getting at. Okay. By Jeffrey Epstein's own admission, he was involved with people who were running guns and money back during Iran-Contra in the 80s. Okay. his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, her dad, had very deep ties to the Israeli Mossad. So much so, in fact, that when Robert Maxwell died, the Mossad gave him full honors, okay, at the funeral, as much as that goes. You've got Alex Acosta, who was at the time the U.S. District Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, who admitted publicly, I was told to back off of Epstein because he was an intelligence asset. I will say this. My gut feeling, yeah, I think Epstein was somebody's intelligence asset. Was he an agent working for the Mossad? Was he an agent working for the CIA? I don't know. But something tells me this guy's got way too many connections and way too many unanswered questions to not be somehow tied up in the intelligence community. Okay? So yeah, I think he was. Can I prove it? No, not necessarily. But it just, there's a whole bunch of unanswered questions about this guy that just don't make any sense. That when you start putting things together, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking this guy is something in the intelligence community. What exactly? I don't know. Facilitator, money launderer, hell, who knows? But there's something about this guy that doesn't smell right. Yeah, I mean, and this goes right to it. I mean, this guy's got money coming out the wazoo. No one can quite figure out where it comes from. He's got influence, connection for a guy who was a college dropout. He starts teaching in the 70s or 80s at one of the most prestigious prep schools in New York City, which was run by Donald Barr, the father of the future Attorney General of the United States. Donald Barr was an old CIA man himself. I mean, you know, I think there's too much smoke for there not to be fire. Christian, if that answers your question, that's exactly what I think about it. TBA says Epstein got laundered taxpayer money, in my opinion. 14 magic money computers, remember? Yeah, good point. Good point. You know, we'll see where this goes. Now the pressure's on those two judges up in New York City. And frankly, and look, and I want to say this very carefully. Like I said, there are individuals who had various affiliations with Jeffrey Epstein. If those names from the accusers are released, yeah, you got the potential that some people who had nothing to do with Epstein's activities are going to get caught up in this. Okay? But I think it's high time we let the truth have its way here. Let's find out who was hanging around with Epstein. If the Justice Department thinks there's valid reason why they ought to be investigated and or prosecuted, do it. If they're innocent of this, fine. Let's get over it. Let's move past it. I'm not saying move past what Epstein did. What he did was horrible. Believe me, he deserves to be 6 feet under. Assuming that he is. Assuming that Epstein is 6 feet under the ground, he deserves everything he got. I'm not saying move on past that. No one is. I'm saying let's find out what the truth is. Let's let the truth have its way here. Oh, a lot of people would love to see this go away. I don't think we get past this. I don't think we get past this as a society. Because it's like I said, this isn't about Epstein. This is about the question of, do we have equal justice under the law? Or do we have a system where it's rules for thee, but not for me? That's what this gets down to. That's what this is about more than anything else. And frankly, that's why everybody wants to know, did these individuals who are on these lists, whatever they might wind up being, are they guilty like Epstein? If they are, why aren't they being punished? Or is it such a thing that they're too rich, too influential, too powerful? No, we cannot possibly touch these individuals. Oh my God, if we do that, the capitalist system of America will fall apart. The banking system will fall apart. The governmental system will, well, let it fall apart. If it's to the point that one person or persons are more important than the values and the systems that we've created over the course of 2 centuries, then we got a bigger problem than Jeffrey Epstein and the people on his client list. Yeah. And by the way, Kawan, I saw your comment about Howard Lutnick, his associations with Epstein. Yeah, there's something a little shady there too, brother. Yep, exactly. And that's why I use the analogy, you keep getting stuck on Brer Rabbit keeps getting stuck on tar baby. The more you try and say, we're not going to look at this, we're not going to release it, the more people sit there and think you're hiding something and you're implicated, and we've got a 2-tier system of justice. Does Donald Trump have a valid concern that maybe whatever is still left of those files has a bunch of poison pills and bad information in it left there to possibly discredit him or his loved ones or anybody else that goes after this? Yeah, it's a valid point. It's a possibility. But let's let the truth have its way here. The American people are a strong people in this respect. You can tell them what's going on. They may not like to find out what's going on. They may have the appropriate righteous indignation of what's going on when they find out, but you can tell them. Tell them the truth. Let's let the truth have its way here. Yeah, just come out and flat out say it. This is what I mean. This is one of the biggest failures of Trump in all of this. And I'm trying to be as fair here as I can. But he is in such a blind rage about this that he's not stopping long enough to just slow down and articulate, what are you thinking? He ought to just take a deep breath. And I mean, again, real easy for me to say it. I'm sitting over here just making some commentary in front of a microphone and a camera, but he needs to just take a moment, either through Truth Social or wherever, and just say, look, here's the worry that I've got. Given that these files were under the control of Democrats or operatives of the Democrat Party, I honestly believe that there are some absolute booby traps and poison pills in these things that have been left there to either discredit me personally, hurt my family, hurt, people that, we all care about. And those files will be weaponized, just like the Steele dossier, just like the Mueller investigation, just like all that. Just take a breath and just say that. I agree with you, Robert. You're absolutely right. Oh, God, yes. God, yes. Don't worry, Kawan. We're going to get into that. Time allowing, we will get into it. Because that's a story that needs to be talked about. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. DOJ did the right thing when they investigated the debacle, investigated deaths. Oh yeah, dear Alana, I don't disagree with you, darling. I don't disagree with you at all. Absolutely, just totally messing this up. Totally. Just so frustrating. So frustrating indeed. And then, as Gypsy alluded to, you've got the Wall Street Journal. You got the Wall Street Journal dropping this piece of journalistic artistry. You know, the story about Donald Trump doodling a picture of a nude woman and sending it to Epstein for his 50th birthday. Now, I think it was Gypsy that asked me the question, do you think that Donald Trump doodled this? Personally, no, I don't. Could he have done it? Yeah, possibly, but I can't see him doing something like that. As a matter of fact, I was listening to an interview the other day. Roger Stone, who's known Trump for going on 5 decades, he says, look, I've been around this guy more times than I can think about. I've never seen him do something like that in a meeting, sitting there doodling a picture. He says it's not his style. He said even the language that the Wall Street Journal used doesn't even make sense. Oh, well, Trump's already launched the lawsuit. That's been filed. Trump's going to go after Rupert Murdoch for this. Not that he doesn't have enough reason to want to do it anyway. Well, Rupert just gave him a real good reason. So that's coming. So Don Jr. said he has never once seen his father doodle something. If anybody ought to know, it ought to be his own kids. Because Don Jr. has worked alongside his father for years in the Trump organization. If anybody ought to know whether Donald Trump, doodles pictures or whatever, it ought to be his own kids. It ought to be somebody like Roger Stone. WWG1 says Picasso doodled stuff on napkins and gave them to the bar to pay off his bill. Well, back in those days, you had to do what you had to do, man. Picasso, Van Gogh, where do you think some of those pictures came from? But it just absolutely, the whole way the Jeffrey Epstein issue's been handled is just frustrating beyond all possibility. Truly it is. And, we'll see where it all goes. We will see where all this goes. Matter of fact, it's gotten so bad that, some people are considering taking matters into their own hands. Matter of fact, I heard a rumor about this the other day, but I didn't believe it until I read it for myself. Nicolas Cage might try and steal the Epstein files. That's how bad it's gotten, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. I don't know, man. I have no idea. No idea. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. That's my thoughts for right now on the whole Epstein thing. And we're going to shift to a different topic. It's about 12 o'clock on the East Coast. And if you're stopping by for the first time, you're here and you're like, what the heck is this all about? Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative, and this is Front Porch Brunch. We get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try and make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. If you're not a member of my channel, please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. You can also find me on Twitter at the Front Porch C1, as I believe you'll see right down here. Also, go ahead and hit the thumbs up this morning. Leave a comment and chat. Go ahead and hit the bell for notifications. Share the link around. Do all those things that you do. Go crazy, St. Louis, and everywhere else in the world while you're at it. All right. From the ridiculous to the even more ridiculous. Did you guys happen to see this the other day? Back.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Now, the voice you heard in the background is Chris Martin of Coldplay. Okay. And I'm bringing this one. I'm bringing up this story for a little bit of comic relief, although in one sense it's not. It's not funny. But yeah, oh yeah. Well, and you know what? I don't blame the guys from Coldplay. They had no idea who they were. None whatsoever. I mean, and I know you're not giving them grief. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, for my part, they're just kind of, panning around the crowd. They're trying to put people up on, the Jumbotron or whatever. Oh, wait a minute. Salty Old Fart's got a meme about this. Hang on a minute. Hang on just a second here. Let's see what Salty Old Fart has got for us. Hang on a second, folks. Un momento, por favor. Oh, God, that's good. Hang on a minute. Oh, this is just too funny. Oh, God. Salty, I owe you one. I'm going to play that one here in a second. Now, for those of you who don't know about this story or what this is all about, I got a piece here from the New York Post, which kind of clues everybody in terms of what exactly is happening. So, give me just a second to grab my copy, and I'll tell you guys what's going on. Like I said, if you haven't heard about this, I almost guarantee you have. But it's one of those stories that's like, yeah. Anyway, headline: ex-employee rips astronomer CEO Andy Byron as, quote, toxic boss, claims staffers enjoying Coldplay kiss cam drama. Everybody's laughing their ass off. Article by Thomas Barabi from the New York Post. We've got the following. The camera-shy tech CEO caught in an awkward embrace with an employee at a Coldplay concert was allegedly a, quote, toxic boss, and former employees were laughing their ass off at the news, a former colleague exclusively told the Post. Andy Byron, the married CEO of New York-based software firm Astronomer, skyrocketed to internet infamy on Thursday after he was spotted canoodling with the company's chief human resource officer, Kristen Cabot, on the Jumbotron at Gillette Stadium. The incident sparked further chatter among his colleagues, many claiming that Byron got his rightful comeuppance, according to a source who used to report directly to Byron. Quote, the text groups and chains of former employees are like laughing their ass off, and everybody's enjoying the hell out of what happened and him getting exposed, the source said. In the workplace, Byron had a reputation as an aggressive, sales-obsessed executive who can be, quote, toxic, according to the source. Let's see. Let me go a little further here. Here we go. As the kiss cam panned over the crowd, Byron had his arms around Cabot's midsection, and the two were holding hands. When the pair realized they were on camera, Cabot covered her face and turned her back, while Byron tried to duck out of view. Coldplay frontman Chris Martin initially thought he had stumbled onto a tender moment in the crowd, but quickly realized that something was amiss. Quote, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy, Chris Martin said. Holy shit, I hope we didn't do something bad, he added, according to additional footage taken right after. Byron appears to be married to Megan Kerrigan Byron, while Cabot is recently divorced her husband, Kenneth Thornby. Cabot and Thornby filed for divorce in 2018, and their split was finalized in 2022, according to Massachusetts court records. It is unclear if she has since remarried. Byron joined Astronomer as CEO in 2023, according to his LinkedIn page, which was taken down by Thursday afternoon. Astronomer closed a $93 million fundraising round in May with backing from Bain Capital, Salesforce, and other notable firms. So there you go, folks. One of them was divorced. He was still hitched, and they got caught canoodling at a Coldplay concert. I mean, and the article said they've gone on to internet infamy. Well, that's pretty true. Okay, a little further information here. Gypsy says Cabot, the HR lady, she just bought a house with her partner. Well, I don't see that house. I bet you that house is going up on the market sometime soon. I'm just saying. Oh, geez. The partner was CEO in a big liquor company. Yeah, and I bet you a lot of that stock's getting liquidated as the partner's just kind of drinking it up right now. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. What else have we got over here? TBA says, just try and get another job now, Miss HR Director. Oh, ain't that the truth? Talk about having to go into your employees the next morning. Eesh. Oh, man. Oh, man. Total. Salty's got something else for me here. Hang on a minute. What else have you got here, brother? One moment, folks. What is this? Oh my God. Oh no. Salty. That was very funny. I'm going to reserve judgment on that one. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that right now, my friend. We'll just leave it at that. Now, I say all that some of this is not very funny. You got a whole marriage now. This CEO's marriage was just busted up. Okay. This HR lady, now her relationship is now busted up. So that part of it is not funny. On the other hand, how this went down, you kind of got to laugh about it. Matter of fact, we've even got a picture here of the cameraman. Man, imagine the look. This is the camera guy who is doing the Jumbotron thing. Oh, he's just having the time of his life over this whole matter. Good Lord. I mean, he just look at the look on that guy's face. He was having a lot of fun filming that whole deal. Good Lord. Now, turns out, however, that, Coldplay apparently has been doing this kind of thing with the whole kiss cam, Jumbotron, whatever. Before we get to that, there is another image of the two lovebirds. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not, but yeah. I don't know if that's their AI image or what it is, but yeah, there's a pretty good one. That's another angle of the same shot. So that one's pretty good. But apparently Coldplay has been doing this kind of thing for a while at other concerts or other venues, and they're not the only ones that have been caught on camera. I mean, for example, we've got some notable examples of this sort of thing been coming in for the past few days. I mean, here's one from a concert up in Chappaqua, New York. Wait a minute. These two people look familiar. Oh my word! What is this? What is this nonsense? Wait a second. Back that up. I know these two people. Again, folks, this is from Chappaqua, New York, a concert that Coldplay did up in Chappaqua. Look, check this out. Oh yeah. That's a big problem. Yep. Oh, buddy. Yeah. There are two people who really don't want to get caught together doing anything anymore. I'm just saying. Now that's not the only example of Coldplay catching people in this stuff. I mean, for example, Coldplay is an internationally famous band, you know, some people might even say they're known throughout the galaxy. Well, apparently that's the case because, you know, they caught a kiss cam on this couple. I mean, my gosh, you know, although I gotta say the lady, she doesn't look too happy in this situation. I don't know if he's got cold hands or what the heck is going on here, but yeah. I don't know. She doesn't look too happy for some strange reason. But yeah, I mean, Coldplay apparently has been doing this kind of thing for a while now. You know, catching, you know, various people on these jumbotrons. I mean, you know, they recently did a concert out in the Midwest, and they caught this couple on screen together. So I tell you what. Man, well, and like I said, they did this in the Midwest. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. I mean, the guy in the headband, he looks kind of happy. He looks real happy for some reason. Even that lady in the striped shirt, she looks pretty. She looks like she's enjoying it. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on a minute. Oh, hang on. Hold the phone, folks. Hold the phone. Oh, we're having fun with this. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, folks. Oh, yes. I see that. Hang on. Thank you, Gypsy. Give me 1 second here. Matter of fact, Coldplay, they've been on the move with this stuff, man. They have been on the move. Matter of fact, apparently they were in I guess Pennsylvania the other night. Hang on a minute. I'll get you the exact city here in a second. But let me see what Gypsy's got here. Hang on a minute. Yeah, apparently they were in Pennsylvania. I guess it was Philadelphia. Oh my gosh, check this out. Yeah, oh my word. Oh no! The Philly Fanatic, and oh my God, Miss Fanatic. Well, maybe she's Miss Fanatic. Is she Miss or Mrs.? I don't know. She's looking kind of embarrassed over the whole thing. Oh my, he's hiding his face. Look at that bum. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Well, no, he's still trying to hide his face. Look at that. Terrible, I say. Absolutely terrible. Oh my word. There's two people got a whole lot of splaining to do. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. Oh my gosh. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, goodness me. Totally crazy. Oh yeah, now here's another one. I said that Coldplay is an internationally renowned band, and like I said, they've been out there doing their thing, man. That's all I'm saying. All over the world, Coldplay has been doing this. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Goodness me. Crazy. But yeah, that is the ongoing saga. The ongoing saga of the astronomer CEO and his exposed paramour. So there you go, folks. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Good God. Oh, mercy me. Glad you guys are here on a Saturday morning. We're having fun. And that sort of leads us into a section of the live stream that I lovingly refer to as HodgePodge Stew. Now, for those of you who maybe have never been here before, HodgePodge stew are those stories that kind of fly under the radar, but they definitely ought to be talked about. And this first story, never in my life do I think I have ever been so happy as to hear about the cancellation of a late night talk show. Hang on a second, folks. Never have I been so happy. Did you guys hear that everyone's favorite late night guy, Stephen Colbert, next May, on May 2026, The Late Show is coming to an end. You guys heard about this? Give me a second here. One moment. I want to get you one with a headline on it, so hang on a second. Sorry, folks. Yeah, here it is. I'll just do it off of this one. Stephen Colbert is being taken off the air. No, I was not trying to rhyme that. Seriously. TBA says May 2026. Why are they waiting so long? I guess to fulfill his contract. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, they're taking Colbert. They're taking The Late Show. Maybe it's better to say they're taking Colbert off. Okay. Here's the headline from the New York Post. CBS canned The Late Show over tens of millions in financial losses annually, not Colbert's politics. And this is an article by Charlie Gasparino. You sometimes see him on Fox Business, etc. CBS brass say they pulled the plug on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert because of its punishing losses, pegged between, now listen to this, $40 to $50 million a year, and a claim that politics had nothing to do with it, the Post has learned. The 61-year-old host got canned just days after he took a dig at the Tiffany Network over its $16 million settlement with Donald Trump and over a controversial 60 Minutes interview with Paramount. Quote, I'm offended. I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company, Colbert said of the truce in his Monday night monologue. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say 16 million would help. Okay. But scathing jokes at the expense of CBS brass wasn't the problem, according to insiders. Instead, the network bosses could no longer stomach the fact that Colbert has been plagued with an increasingly dire shortage of advertisers. That, despite Colbert's #1 ratings in his time slot and his status as the key face for the Tiffany Network. In the end, Paramount co-CEO George Cheeks decided to kill the show, sources said. Colbert gets no advertising and late night is a tough spot, said one person with direct knowledge of CBS's decision. Colbert might be #1, but who watches late night TV anymore? Some Democrats voiced suspicion, citing the host's left-wing leanings and CBS's owner Paramount's urgent need to gain an okay from the Trump administration for the merger with Skydance, the Hollywood studio behind the Mission Impossible franchise. CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS's parent company, a deal that looks like bribery, said lefty Senator Elizabeth Warren on Twitter. So Colbert is out of a job. Now, all that would be bad enough. But what makes it even more interesting to me, it's not so much that he got canceled. I mean, look, from a business decision standpoint, I get it. If you've got an institution or a wing of your business or whatever you want to call it that's bleeding that kind of money every year, then yeah, you got to pull the plug. And in one sense, it kind of makes me sad. Now, I'll tell you why. Because if you stop and think about it, this show, The Late Show, is actually Dave Letterman's old show and predates CBS. Because Dave Letterman got his start over on NBC, Late Night with David Letterman. He followed Carson for years. So in one sense, an institution of late night television is being taken down. Not just the fact that, Steve Colbert is losing his job. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's all that funny to begin with. Okay. But old late night institutions being taken down here. But what kind of cracks me up even more about this is the reaction from some people on the political left. Check this out. This is from the Gateway Pundit. FU CBS. Jimmy Kimmel melts down over Colbert cancellation. Is he next on the chopping block? It's an article by a gentleman named Ben Q. And we read the following. Jimmy Kimmel has been left rattled after the cancellation of fellow late-night comedian Stephen Colbert's show on CBS. In a post on Instagram, Kimmel lashed out at the company for axing the show despite its losing huge amounts of money. Love you, Stephen. F you and all your Sheldon CBS. A little further into the article, according to a report from Puck News, and yes, I'm enunciating that very carefully, the decision to cancel Colbert's show was taken after it was costing Paramount $40 million a year. Total production cost ran over $100 million. Good grief. As the two most recognizable faces in late-night comedy, Kimmel and Colbert have increasingly used their platform as a propaganda tool for the Democrat Party rather than entertainment shows that all Americans can enjoy. Following Trump's victory on Tuesday, Kimmel choked up on air as he moaned about the hardworking immigrants who might be deported under the administration. Mr. Kimmel and Mr. Colbert, may I point out a piece of advice, or maybe go on to explain to you why it is that you lost your jobs? Maybe. There's kind of a real simple reason for that. And I want to take you back in time to an interview that the legendary Johnny Carson gave to Mike Wallace of 60 Minutes. And if you want to understand why it is in the end, now granted, CBS is saying it's because of money. It's because of costs. No one would advertise on the show. Yada, yada, yada. I think there's something else here, but nobody wants to admit it. And the answer as to why Stephen Colbert got fired comes down to something that Johnny Carson said years ago. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor, check out this clip, and I think you'll begin to understand why Stephen Colbert no longer has a job.
People say, he'll never take a serious controversy. Well, I have an answer to that. I said, now, tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But you're not. Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people. And I don't think you should as an entertainer.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why Stephen Colbert doesn't have a show. There's a reason why no one would advertise with him. And I could be totally wrong about this, but I don't think I am. He got so toxic, nobody wanted to be associated with him. I mean, yeah, in one sense, CBS is right. Nobody watches late night television anymore. But that kind of begs the question, why? Well, you heard what Johnny Carson said. Just because I've got a show doesn't mean I've got a platform. I'm there to entertain. I don't necessarily need to be talking about issues on my show. I'm there to make people laugh. And that's what Carson was trying to get across to people. I mean, yeah, Johnny Carson did political jokes, but he went after everybody equally. Democrats and Republicans. Not like Colbert. So they're wondering why no one watches late night television anymore? Well, could it be that they're possibly not that funny and they're being blatantly political? Yeah, exactly. You're there to make people laugh. Okay? Read the room. Nobody's interested in your political opinion. Oh, look, if you want to have one, fine. If you want to have a political opinion, it's up to you. But you don't need to bring it on your show. Just do it like the old timers used to do it. And here's another Graham Norton from the BBC. Show is hilarious. There's not a lot of politics involved. And he just pokes fun at everybody. Yeah, I've watched Graham Norton's show. He's hysterical. He's absolutely hysterical. WWG1 over on Rumble says, late night television isn't a welfare program, Jimmy Kimmel. Exactly. See, and yeah, I'm starting to wonder, you folks over on Rumble that are conjecturing this, I tend to agree with you. Kimmel might be next. Bingo. That's what most people are saying when it comes to late night television hosts. Robert Lowry says the following: their ratings were shite before 2016. Trump derangement syndrome gave them a slight Trump bump in the ratings, and they leaned into the propaganda. Bingo. Yeah. So Colbert is gone. He is out the door. He is finito, gone. All right. 2 more stories real quick. And then I have got a skedaddle, as I know you guys do too. Kawan referred to this story a little earlier, and again, I haven't had a chance to be on to talk about it. But this is one of those moments you sit there and go, God, why? Let's get into it, folks. The bad news. From Politico.com, Trump agrees to send weapons to Ukraine, says the European allies will pay for the systems, which will come from American stockpiles. Article written by Eli Stokels and Paul McClary. President Trump announced on Monday that NATO allies will finance the purchase of Patriot missile systems and other weapons for Ukraine, his most significant move yet to support Kiev in a war with Russia he long hoped to end. The weapons, worth billions of dollars, will be built by U.S. defense industry and financed by European countries. Oh, President Trump, come on. You said you want to end this war? Just cut them off. Just cut them off. Oh, I agree with you, Your Highness. I'm with you, dear. I'm totally with you on this one. Totally. But there is some good news, and this is our last story for the day. And it's a small victory, but it's a victory nonetheless, and I think it ought to be enjoyed. And the significance of it ought to be brought to attention. From CBS News, this is from Friday morning. House passes Trump's request to rescind foreign aid, public media funding after Epstein fallout delays the vote. Article by Kaiten Yellick. We have the following. House Republicans approved a package after midnight to claw back $9 billion in foreign aid and public broadcasting funding, sending it to President Trump's desk. Congress beat a Friday end-of-day deadline to pass the bill, which is known as a rescissions request, after which the money would have had to have been spent as originally intended. Efforts to release files related to child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein stalled movement on the bill. The House combined the vote on final passage with a procedural vote, allowing members to pass the package quickly, mostly along party lines, 216 in favor, 213 against. 2 Republicans opposed it, Mike Turner of Ohio and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. The bill targets roughly $8 billion in foreign assistance, including United States Agency for International Development money, $1 billion in monies for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and monies for NPR. Now, in the grand scheme of it all, I agree with you. It's a very small amount of money. May I respectfully point out one thing? This is the first time since the late 1990s that a rescissions package, in other words, clawing back money that had been appropriated, this is the first time since the late 1990s this has passed. Second thing, this might be the beginning of more. Now, is it going to be huge amounts of money? No. And good point, it's a win. Let's take it. This might be the beginning of more of these kind of packages. Now, we'll see. We'll see. But I think Gypsy is right. A win is a win. Let's enjoy it. So, all right, we're going to bring this train into the station. I want to thank you guys so much for being here for Front Porch Brunch. We are going to be back this Wednesday with the Wednesday Night Newsroom. Love you guys very much. I want you to have a great weekend. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later.